trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Don't forget I got memories, dead stain the whole room if I let him bleed. Shit was dark, I let this little light of mine.
Y'all know what time it is, man. Y'all know what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of the Trap or Die podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to break down a loss. A 33-22 loss by the New Orleans Saints. For the Washington football team. I probably butchered that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna try it again though. But y'all get the point, man. 2-3. And before we even get started into the aftermath show, let's go ahead and get through the administrative things as always, right? So ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching right now through Twitch and you are not following, make sure you do follow. You give us a follow. We truly appreciate it. But also, this is a followers only chat. So we kind of try to, lucky to be 2-3, right? This is a followers only chat. So we do encourage all the conversations, all of those things. We encourage all that stuff. Just got to make sure you're a follower to be contributing to the conversation and be a part of each and every single show. YouTube, like, subscribe if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel. These things go a long way, just showing your support in those instances, and also understanding that we do produce content damn near each and every single day. Podcasts, whatever podcast platform that you are listening, but mainly Apple Podcasts. If you like the content, you appreciate the information, appreciate the content, the entertainment, conversations, the interviews, all that stuff, make sure you do subscribe, rate, and review, and let the people know how this podcast is for you, so people can have an idea. We will be having call-ins today, 443-242-4479. I'll put the number in the chat as well. What's going on, Jarian? I hope all is well with you. And you, like you said, lucky to be 2-3, easy to be 1-4. You're being nice. I don't even think there was not one game this entire season to this point, even though we only have 2 dubs, there was not one game in which we handedly won. So while you're saying 1-4, I say 0-5. I say 0-5. And one more last thing for the administrative part for everybody that's here. Y'all think I'm playing, or I hope y'all don't think I'm playing or being disingenuous when I truly say I appreciate everybody's support, because y'all don't have to be listening to me. Y'all don't have to be listening to us. And you know, some y'all tune in weekly. Y'all tune into the live streams. Y'all tune into post game, pre game, and I'm giving back when I have those opportunities. And I said it last week. I kind of buried the lead. I meant to do this in the beginning of the post game stream, but I will be doing a giveaway. We did one giveaway in the preseason. We will do one more giveaway. I'll do one more giveaway. I'm thinking towards the end of this month. I don't know, because the way my plan is, I don't know how many people right now are too excited to buy some Washington football gear now. Maybe for their kids or their little ones and stuff like that. That may be an incentive, but I'm kind of thinking between the Washington football merchandise or like an Amazon gift card. So I'm going to gauge the interest. Like, that's why I'm going to use this month of October, not the entire month. It's not going to take that long, right? I'm going to try and see like what you all would prefer at this point, because the Washington football team's like, do y'all really want to buy merchandise, or do you just appreciate an Amazon gift card? With that being said, again, I truly appreciate the support from everybody, and for your time, for everybody's time, man. Y'all don't have to do this, and y'all continue to rock out with your boy. So yeah, that's that. One last administrative item. Tomorrow we are streaming at 10 a.m. Eastern, There will be no 7 p.m. show. 10 a.m. Eastern. We will be joined by Mark Bullock, formerly of The Athletic, and he's written for the Washington Post and all other outlets as well. He used to write for the same outlet that I'm writing for now in Hogs Haven. He's going to join us live, and we're going to be doing a film breakdown of Taylor Heinicke tomorrow live on stream. So if you want to know how Taylor is playing, if you want to know how good or bad he played against the Saints, this is where you will need to tune in. This is where you would need to tune in. We're doing everything live. You get to see things for what they are. Okay, you get to see things for what they are. So Jarian, trust me, keep talking. I see your questions. I see your comments. I'm just making sure I get through everything. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you guys will want to be there. And if you guys miss it, for those who are listening on Twitch, but also or watching on Twitch, and also the podcasters, if you all miss it, I will be doing a rerun later in the day. It just won't be live, obviously. So reruns on Twitch is me simply playing back what we streamed earlier in the day. So it will go live once again, probably around the same time, 7 p.m. if not 8 p.m. whatever. So yes, that'll be ran again for everybody who missed it. Okay, the administrative things are done. Now, good man Jarian, do you think we're gonna talk about that? Jarian asks, do you think that Taylor Heinicke keeps the quarterback job until Fitz come back, or do we see Allen before that? And yes, you have been. I get it. Like everything that I have Washington football related, like current Washington football team, not Redskins stuff, current Washington football team, that's been gifted to me. I've been holding off on merch myself too, like just in general. Like I've just been holding off on merch. But all Washington football team stuff has been gifted to me. So Jarian, I want to hear your thoughts. I appreciate you being active in the chat. I want to hear your thoughts. So two things. We're going to talk about Taylor Heinicke and Fitzmagic thing like that. So answer your own question, because we'll be talking about that. What do you think? And secondly, another question that I had that I was going to answer. Where is that one at? What does putting people in positions to succeed look like? Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. What is the head coach's particular unit or particular role when a unit is struggling? So let me clear it up, make it cleaner, because I know I kind of butchered. I have my notes right here in front of me. What do you think the role of a head coach should be when the particular unit of his team is struggling? So those are the two questions that we're going to try and dive in here today. So go ahead, let me hear your thoughts on Taylor Heinicke, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right. So we're gonna start with the snap count. First and foremost, the snap count, man. Nika Javala does this every single week, and she gives her key takeaways, and then she also has the picture of the snap counts. So Nika Javala of the Washington Post mentioned her notes: the offense played 83 snaps. Ricky Seals-Jones played all but one of those snaps. DeAndre Carter played 58 offensive snaps, the second most amongst wide receivers behind Terry McLaurin. And then Cole Holcomb played all 56 defensive snaps. Jamin Davis only played 13 defensive snaps. So those are her takeaways. I'm gonna start from offense to defense here. Ricky Seals-Jones, again, 99%. Terry McLaurin, 84%. DeAndre Carter, 70%. Adam Humphries, 61%. Curtis Samuel, 6%. He only played 5 snaps till he got hurt. And then you have J.D. McKissic, who played 41% of the snaps. Ladies and gentlemen, J.D. McKissic played 41% of the snaps. He only had 3 touches, 2 carries, 1 reception. 2 carries for -1 yards, 1 reception, I believe, for 8 yards. And that was an issue that I was going to wait to talk about. However, since we're on this one, the storyline of the snap count, obviously with McKissic, is that The fact that people can kind of get washed or underutilized or forgotten about in this scheme is kind of it's going to forever be a mistake. This isn't the first time that it's happened with certain players. I've talked about Cam Sims for 1,000 years already, and I've reiterated 1,000 times. I don't want him to be the superstar. I don't think he is a superstar, but he's a contributor. Cam Sims is obviously hurt, so we're not talking about this week. But just understanding the roles of certain players and people getting buried. How does J.D. McKissic stay on the field for 34 snaps and have just 3 touches? He did have 4 targets, but from my recollection of watching the game, not all of those targets were catchable. They were some difficult catches to make. Taylor Heineke put him in a bad position. Defensively, Landon, oh Lord Jesus. Landon Collins played 100% of the snaps. William Jackson 100%. Bobby McCain 95%. Cameron Curl played 89%. That's pretty high, and that's actually where it should be. I'm not going to over exaggerate and say he should be playing 100%. I just think that Landon Collins snaps should decrease, whatever that may be. Cam Curl being around 89 to 95% is a healthy number. Deron Payne 88%, Chase Young 79%, David Mayo 16%, and Benjamin St. Juice 21% of the snaps. James Smith Williams played 39%, and that's kind of some notables. Benjamin St. Juice only playing 21%, and where's the other guy? Well, Khalid Cousin at that point too. I didn't even mention he only had 3 snaps on defense. And Jamin Davis playing 13%. There was something where, how did I forget to, I'm gonna pull up the notes again for me. Ron Rivera, he said that the reason for Jamin Davis playing less snaps than expected was what we're doing, this is his quote, what we're doing is by game plan. We just felt that we had planned and what we could do and have success we went with. And again, I thought there were some good things that we did. We did put ourselves in a position to make some plays in some situations. It's just unfortunate. Like I said, me defensively, you can sit here and say, oh, you can take 2 plays back. That will make a world of difference, but you can't. But let me catch up on what Jarian is saying. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. We are just starting. We just went over snap counts and highlighting some things. And Jamin Davis right now is the topic of discussion. Only playing 13 snaps, 23% of the defensive snaps. So that's what Ron Rivera had to say about Jamin Davis and the fact that they're just going by the game plan. Jarian mentioned, I'm gonna save your Taylor Heineke comments for the moment. But Jarian mentioned that Ron Rivera needs to step in on that defense. I don't know what's going on with the back end. It's terrible. Seems like Collins is freelancing. KC versus Washington. Going to see 2 worst safeties in the league playing that game. You also mentioned that you don't see how they're so loyal to Collins. Screw that contract. He doesn't give the best chance to win. I mean, truth of the matter, yeah, like I think there's 2 weeks in a row where he's played 100% of the snaps. And nothing's gotten better. Nothing's improved. And I think the thing is, one of the most egregious mistakes that they made this week was even putting Landon Collins in a position to play free safety. I understand safeties have roles and you want interchangeable guys and you want that flexibility to do certain things. But putting them in that position to play free safety, first off, already hinders your defense. But secondly, for him to lack the awareness and understanding that the person to his left runs a 4.3 40 and you're 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Your toes, man. You have nothing in your repertoire that will save you from the ass whooping that you about to take on that rep. Everybody got beat. And it made Jameis Winston's job much more easier, man. Just a hook and pitch and catch. So that's the defensive side of the ball. Landon Collins stood out, obviously. Cole Holcomb, and I think Jamin Davis we mentioned. Benjamin St. Juice, there was another thing that he mentioned, and I'll give a comment on that if I can find that one. Yes, so There was another question asked today in his presser on Jamin Davis and Benjamin St. Juste getting fewer snaps yesterday, but also balancing the development of young players with trying to win now. Rivera answered the following. He said, well, this is really about trying to win. I mean, you line up and play to win. Sometimes based on what we're doing schematically, guys will get the opportunity to play. Some guys won't. And when they play, they've got to play to the best of their abilities. They've got to take advantage of those chances. If you just throw everything away and say, hey, it's just all about developing, then okay, great. But what does that say? I mean, what are we trying to do? Well, we're going to try and win. And again, if part of the game plan calls for us to do these things, that's what we're going to do. Somebody reminded me today on Twitter when we asked about the outlook of Ron Rivera, and my co-host AJ asked, like point blank, what does Ron Rivera do good? What has he done since he's been here? Somebody responded that, we got to remember that last year before the division went to shit, and everybody realized that it was a very winnable division by chance. It went from developing and culture building to trying to win now. In this specific response that we just gave everybody, how many times did Rivera mention we are trying to win? He said, we are trying to win. This has nothing to do about building for the future, everybody. They are trying to win now. They have been trying to win now. And if you sit here and try and find these excuses for these coaches and for these players, because the results are something that you did not expect, you are going to get yourself in trouble. You are going to get heartbroken if you do not hold these guys accountable. If you do not ask yourself the tough questions, you are going to get yourself in trouble. Do not be that fan. And I'm not sitting here saying if you ask those tough questions, they'll be negative. You may come up with a positive response or a positive outlook. That's perfectly fine. But if you are not asking the questions, you are setting yourself up for a huge letdown. Ron Rivera is trying to win now. There is no such thing as developing and building for the future in this moment. You are trying to win these games, and he's failing. He's failing to try and win games, but each and every game, 5 games in, has looked like a disaster. The defense, the strongest unit of this team, perceivably heading into the regular season, has been one of the most historic letdowns that I can imagine. Now, I'm not lying to you. What I mean by that is not necessarily how they're playing statistically, but how they were hyped up, a culmination of things, hyped up in the offseason by the fans, the national attention that they got, all of these things that has accumulated into the fact that they are one of the worst units in the NFL right now. And none of these coaches who have a pedigree, Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, they have a pedigree. They do not have a solution to the problem that currently exists. We think everything is a quick fix. Ladies and gentlemen, I have told you for weeks, this will not be a quick fix. I don't have the answers, and I'm glad it's not my job to figure out what the answers are. But these things, these issues, they go deeper than just subbing, removing. Landon Collins is an easy fix. John Bostic is an easy fix. He got hurt. I don't wish injuries on people, but he should have been benched. These are easy fixes. But that does not mean that the defense will automatically improve. It just means you're tired of one headache, you don't have to see them no more, and they're off to the side. That is what that's what we're dealing with right now. The issues will continue to exist beyond benching and reducing snaps. It goes larger than that, everybody. I just want you all to know that. Jarian mentioned younger players have been playing better than some of the overpriced vets. And that even goes back to Cam Sims last week. Excuse me, Cam Curl last year. As soon as Landon Collins went out, the defensive unit started to improve. And we're talking about a salary difference of, just to make sure I'm on. That's the salary difference. It's a lot to a little. So yeah, and then I think St. Juice has probably been the best corner. It's just kind of crazy to say in the limited amount of time that he's been on the field. He's probably the best corner that Washington has right now. He ain't having no scheme issues. He's not having no scheme issues. So yeah, he's saying, Jerry, excuse me, to continue. He's saying that continue to play Collins isn't win now. Not making adjustments isn't win now. It's stubborn. Loyal to vets and stubborn about changes. Reminded me of his Carolina days. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I'm going to continue because I have this excellent quote from one of our previous guests that fits well into a subject on the offensive side of the football. What's going on, BQC, man? I appreciate you for checking in. Hope all is well with you. Get your comment out the way. It's embarrassing, man, for a coach who allegedly preaches discipline to have such an undisciplined unit consistently is inexcusable. That's probably the quote of the day. Probably one of the quotes of the day. You know, I myself, I'm a master of great quotes. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to put my chest out there. You know what I'm saying? So I put out excellent quotes. But that's a really good quote. For a coach who allegedly preaches discipline to have such an undisciplined unit consistently is inexcusable. That's a fact, man. All right, so to wrap up the snap counts, I'm on offensive side of the football, man. There's some good things here. I already talked about J.D. McKissic and his opportunities or lack thereof. But Adam Humphries and DeAndre Carter, these are some of my notes that I had for later in the show, but we can talk about that right now. DeAndre Carter is being used in ways that Steven Sims were used in previous years. The gadget plays, the sweeps, the screens, the quick passes, all those type of things at the line of scrimmage, just to get him in that opportunity to make some to make some moves in open field and get him in that opportunity. DeAndre Carter, 70% of the snaps on offense is really good. Adam Humphries, I know a lot of people really don't like the look of Adam Humphries. Look meaning like he's not a flashy guy. He is not an elite player. He has no elite skill set. He's just a slot guy. But for a guy who had, I think, 3 catches for 70 yards, just shows you his capability. I know one was a huge catch and run, but Adam Humphries done nothing but convert. That's all he's been doing here. Like you can sit here and diminish the 6 catches for 44 yards. Well, guess what? As a slot man whose sole purpose is to move the sticks and be a reliable target, and these 6 catches for 44 yards, that specific game is stemming from the Giants game, I believe. And for you to diminish that just shows me and then I don't like to insult people in this regard because I'm not even a professional football player, but just for you to diminish that just tells me how much you're lacking in terms of the analysis part of the game. You don't need to average 10 yards of reception if you're converting first downs and you're a reliable target. You don't drop passes, things like that. Adam Humphries' role is continuing to grow, but also he's being relied upon in certain instances, and that's really good for him. It's really good for him. I didn't mention, and this is the last thing I'm gonna talk about on the defensive side because that was my mistake. Chase Young, constant pressure. I liked it. We all loved it. I'm sure we all love to see Chase Young win it, man, and be successful. That's all we really want for him. Some people do have their mind made up that they're a bust, that he's a bust. I don't pay attention to that crowd, and everybody who fucks with me and likes the show and listens to us, but also have a mind of their own. Don't listen to that crowd either. Don't even feed into that crowd that think that Chase Young is a bust. There is no reasoning with those people. There's no room to have conversations with those people. Just understand that we all wanted Chase Young to start producing. I think this was a really good week for Chase Young against the Saints, man. He took advantage of a offensive line that was kind of banged up. He forced a turnover, got sacked, got a quarterback hit. Really good for Chase Young. All right. Okay. So we can, tired of the should have drafted Herbert crowd. Yeah, it's a mess. Now, I do agree with the concept or the theory in general of drafting potential franchise quarterback over any other position. I agree with that, but I don't like the hindsight game when it specifically comes to Justin Herbert. Nobody expected that from Justin Herbert. All right, so injuries. This is a quick one. I wasn't able to find much about injuries, but Curtis Samuel, Ron Rivera had a quote post-game, or today, not post-game. He said, he's going to be on a week-to-week basis. Guys, what we have to do with Curtis is, we got to stick to the game plan, continue to work him. One of the hard things was we're trying to be mindful of it, and unfortunately on the sideline, he felt he was tightening up, and we're not going to put him out there and expose him to an even more serious injury. So we're just going to continue to be smart with it, and hopefully it'll settle in, and he'll be ready to go. In the meantime, that means some other guys will get a few more opportunities. You guys saw DeAndre out there and Dax Milne getting some. Adam Humphries, he came up big and made some plays for us as well. That's what we have to approach it as. Plain and simple, I think like reading this quote, I don't think Curtis Samuel had a significant injury or a tough injury. He just said that it was tightened up, so they said we're going to take him out. And Samuels did the right thing of communicating that with the coaches. So they decided to take him out. Now, I do wonder, and I think it's a legitimate question to ask, was it even a mistake bringing him back against the Falcons? Like, he had a 25 snap count, 25 play snap count. That was it. He had 3 snaps or 4 snaps against the Saints, man. And then he felt some tightness. So you kind of got to wonder, was it a mistake bringing him back this early? Doesn't mean that he's not able to play against the Chiefs, but do you wonder if it was a mistake bringing him back this early because he could have waited and even came back against the Chiefs? He could have missed 2 more weeks. He had like 3 weeks before they had to, either put him on long-term IR or activate him. They could have brought him back against the Chiefs. So that's it for Curtis Samuel and the injuries. Let me go back to some more comments. What's going on, DMV fan, man? I hope all is well with you too. So Jarian agrees on the pressure. I'm tired of Herbert crowd. Obviously, as we talked about, Herbert went to a much better situation as well. He lost me so much money yesterday, man. I bet on the Browns, the money line, and the money line just means the Browns have to win outright for those who aren't gamblers. And that man, Herbert and Nick Chubb, not even Baker Mayfield, Herbert and Nick Chubb were dealing. Like, they were going back and forth. Herbert is in a much better situation. He has a lot of things working for him. DMV fan mentioned that hindsight is 2020. And yes, they need to slow roll Samuel. So, all right, those are the injuries. Let's go ahead and get to the good, the bad, answer a couple questions, and we can get up out of here, man. Enjoy our Monday Night Football game. All right, so the good, we mentioned Chase Young already. We mentioned DeAndre Carter and Adam Humphries. We mentioned, wow, my list is short. I have 3 things on the good. Those 2 were it. And then the third thing was the defense forcing 2 turnovers. I listed because the defense is a long story again within itself, but forcing 2 turnovers in the first quarter was a really good sign and really good opportunity for Washington's offense. That's as much as I could say about that part, because then we get into the bad, and this is how this translates. So as we get into the bad, the first thing in my notes was Washington's offense missed opportunities in general. Washington offense went 2 of 5 in the red zone. 2 for 5. A team going into the week 5, I think they were 6th in the NFL in red zone percentage. So they were getting in the end zone pretty often. Washington's offense, believe it or not, they were getting in the end zone pretty often. But a Saints team who really strapped up in big moments in that game, I got to give him credit. And even against Terry McLaurin, a lot of people may not want to admit this, but hey, I'm not sitting here saying Terry played bad. He just went up against a really good cornerback. We know Terry's going to bring it. He had some wins, but Marshawn Lattimore, he won majority. of the day. I think he had like even 6 pass deflections on Terry McLaurin. So that kind of shows you where he was at, man. He was all over the field. He was on his hip pretty often. All right. So yeah, the offense in the red zone, man, 2 of 5. Flat out, you can't win like that. We all know that. But understanding, and this kind of goes into what we're going to look at tomorrow, right, with Mark Bullock. How was Taylor Heinicke playing in the red zone? I know for a fact there was one opportunity that ended up leading to a field goal. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. There was one opportunity leading to a field goal where Taylor Heinicke flat out missed Adam Humphries on a curl route because he wanted to throw the prettier ball, the more highlight type ball to the back of the end zone where a guy was covered. I want to say it was Ricky Seals-Jones, but Adam Humphries is just sitting to his right, like he could play hopscotch. He can do the crip walk. You know what I'm saying? He could eat a sandwich. He could fix him a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Like, that's how wide open he was. And nobody would have got to him. So there was a lot of things in that red zone that went wrong. But the Saints defense made plays too, and we got to give them credit in that instance. Let's see. Also, if he doesn't trust Hopkins, why is he on the team? The 4th down attempt, for example, Jarian mentioned that Taylor wasn't helping Terry McLaurin. Correct. Better throws. Terry had more opportunities. Hey, look, I don't disagree with that at all, my brother. I don't. So another thing, coaching, that's on the bad. No JD McKissick. We mentioned that earlier. It's just criminal to underutilize your playmakers, and not give them opportunities to help you win. For a guy like that who played actually more than I thought based on the amount of touches that he got, only 3. He played a lot, and we didn't utilize him at all, and that's kind of frustrating. To even witness to have a whole game where the guy only had 3 opportunities to make plays for you all. Clock management, man. Yesterday, I'm gonna play this for you all. For everybody that's listening, I have a few clips. Thankfully, I have them saved, so it's kind of easier to kind of go through them. But I'm gonna play this clip for everybody. And this is what I said yesterday because I don't want to mess up what I said, so I'll just play it verbatim. But clock management is an issue with Ron Rivera. It has been. And Jaron, you mentioned like you thought about his Carolina days, right? This is one of the issues that he had back then, and it continues to show face now. But Sean Payton showed Ron Rivera why using your timeouts are important. And we'll just go from there. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and play it right now. Under 3 minutes to go. The first thing we're going to talk about is the clock management. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half of the game, AJ. It's 13-13. And you're telling me after you make a huge play in the backfield for the New Orleans Saints, you're not going to call any timeouts at all to try and stop the clock and get the ball back? You're going to let the clock go all the way down to the 2-minute warning? And not only that, you accept the penalty or decline the penalty and still continue to allow the clock to run down. Even with the Saints not having, and guess how it paid off for them? This is crazy how things turn out, everybody. You're telling me that Sean Payton, because you never know what can happen, Sean Payton gets a punt that ends up going to the 1-yard line, and he's calling timeouts he has, I think, 2 timeouts left, and all Washington can do is run the clock out. They end up punting it back to New Orleans. And what do they do when they get the ball back, AJ? They fucking hit a Hail Mary.
They scored that Hail Mary with 19 seconds. They had 19. Washington punted with 19 seconds on the clock. By the time they got the ball, it was probably like 10 or 11 seconds.
Yes, 10 or 11 seconds. So for Ron Rivera to sit here and look at the clock with 3 minutes left in the first half, and you let the clock milk down all the way to 2 minutes, and you're telling me I've never seen. And this is not the first time this happened, but you're letting situations like this cost your team an opportunity to score points in a tie ball game. You're just content with going into half. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And it's kind of catching up with him. Some things I shouldn't even say it's catching up with him. It's always been here. It's been here since last year. But when you're trying to get used to new coaching styles, especially with a new coach who's clearly in the second year with Washington, some of those little things don't really bother you early on. But when they continue to pile up and things like that, that's when you kind of start to pay attention to the flaws. So that's kind of where we are with the clock management thing. That's what I said yesterday. And the Hail Mary, man, it was absolutely terrible. There was a 9% chance of that play being successful according to Next Gen Stats. Jameis Winston, and this is verbatim, so I'm going to read this. Jameis Winston's Hail Mary 49-yard touchdown to Marquez Callaway at the end of the first half had a 9.9% completion probability. The most improbable completion in the NFL this season. 3 factors that determine the 9% completion probability. Winston being under pressure. The air distance being 57.2 yards. The target separation being a half a yard. This is impossible to just understand. This is impossible to comprehend. Like it's just impossible. It's just literally impossible. I have no other words than that. I think this is an indication of the coaches not communicating well with the players. While they fully understood the assignment, I think the players were all in on playing for the field goal. They were all playing for the field goal, and that's kind of where the issue lies. I think the inability to understand that they can still go deep, and the inability to understand mid-play that, oh shit, there has been no out routes. Let's get deep. There's been nothing to the sideline. Let's get deep. For all of this to occur, and nobody contests the catch in an instant, they all just look up and just realize, oh shit, they actually threw it. A problem, man. What's going on, Cole? So Cole mentioned that he's struggling to muster up the willingness to discuss individual games at this point. The long-term plan itself is in major jeopardy. Hey Cole, I wanna salute to you. I really do. While you're in here, I understand your gripe. I mean, you know, on my end, I got to do it. Like, I can't sign up for this shit and not do it, right? But I understand, man. Like, I saw your tweet, bruh, and I feel bad for you. And I mean, I'm in that same boat. Like, understanding the early games that I went to and understanding how packed it was. Like, one of my favorite games that I went to was the Detroit Lions game and the Arizona Cardinals game, both in 2007. I remember them Jones. And that shit was packed. That shit was packed, bruh. So I'm early enough to remember these things and remember these packed stadiums. And even before then, like a Houston Texans game, like back in 03 or 02, wherever it was. I remember that shit. Like, these things were packed, bruh. And to see the fan base dwindle and the stadium just not, like, just be void. Like, it's just nobody there. I feel bad for you, bruh. And the situations that we're in, our generation of fans. So yeah, I feel for you, bro. I hope everything been well today. But yeah, yesterday was rough. And I saw your picture and I felt your pain, bro. All right. Where we at? So, and we're gonna talk about some other things, some deeper issues. Another thing that we talked about, especially on that Hail Mary play, but also just in general, is Landon Collins. I don't understand why, and nobody understands why at this point he's playing safety. But secondly, why is he the deep man? Why exactly do you even anticipate him being needed as the deepest safety on your team? There's other viable options. You can completely eliminate Collins from playing the deep man, and in terms of that, like I said, we understand that flexibility thing that these coaches love to talk about, but you got to understand your personnel and the fact that they are not necessarily seeing things as clear as they should be, whether it's from a lack of stubbornness, like Jarian said, or excuse me, not a lack of stubborn, but lack of compromise. Their inability to compromise or their ability or failure to admit or acknowledge errors and mistakes. That's kind of the issue that we're seeing with Landon Collins. We all know this has a lot to do with money. Like, we know that, and we shouldn't be naive to that fact. Landon Collins is on the field a lot because of the money situation. But also, like, how much do they trust these guys that we clamor for? How much do they trust? How much do they trust DeShazier Everett? How much do they trust Jeremy Reeves? All these guys that we clamor for. We saw that Cameron Curl had a lot of snaps against the Saints, but there's no guarantee that they trust these guys. There's no guarantee that they think that it's gonna make a difference. So I'm not excusing Landon Collins. I'm just saying we don't know what's behind him. And I'm not entirely too sure that it'll get better. I understand the gripe of trying to get him off the field because he's a complete eyesore at this point. Anything is better than Landon Collins. So with that being said, fourth quarter defense. And then we're going to get into a bigger issue afterwards. So the fourth quarter defense, man. Washington's defense allowed 246 yards heading into the fourth quarter, everybody. They allowed 246 yards heading into the fourth quarter. The Saints ended the game with 369 yards when it hit triple zeros. The offense hurt big time. But if there was any time for the defense to step up, the fourth quarter was it. They failed majorly. After Washington scored to make it 27-22, Washington's defense gave up an 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive in 4 minutes. There was 3 minutes left on the clock for Washington. The Saints faced 1 third down on that drive where they scored. It was awful to see. For a defense that caught breaks throughout the game, right? But also had their moments in which they played well. For you to give up that moment, that drive, it's a terrible thing to see. We do have a couple more people in here. I'm going to open up the phone lines or give the opportunity for people to call in once more. 443-242-4479. You do have the opportunity to get things off your chest. Here is the number one more time, and I'm going to continue just in case there is nobody, you know what I'm saying, that needs to talk about things, which is perfectly fine. There is no pressure to call in. Cole mentioned, Jarian first, excuse me. Bench Collins, he pulls that against KC, and it's going to be worse against the Saints. Yes. That literally explains his existence on this team. It has nothing to do with actual football. That's actually a fact. Cole mentioned that he liked Sean Taylor when he was a kid. That's literally all it took for the owner to say, you know what, get your ass over here. We need you. We need to market you. We need to market this story. It's a lovely thing. Get your ass over here. We're going to sign you. We're going to give you a lot of money. Jarian mentioned that money shouldn't be a factor unless it was something in his contract. That's a fact. It shouldn't be a factor, but that's just the business of the game, man. Everybody to this point know that there are some people that shouldn't be playing, but when you have a bigger contract, whether it's the coach, whether it's the GM, whether it's the owner, like when that contract plays a part, they want to see certain people play. And whoever it comes down to, whoever made that decision, they want to see that thing work out. That's kind of where the money comes in. So yeah, he definitely made some business decisions. Collins did. All right, Taylor Heineke. Jarian, I asked you that question early on about what's going on with Taylor Heineke and what you think, right? So I'm gonna scroll up and I'm gonna go ahead and read yours in a second. But Taylor Heineke had a terrible day. From an analysis standpoint, in my eyes, Taylor Heineke missed a ton of throws. I mean, we all know that part. Like, he missed a ton of throws. However, it wasn't the fact that he missed those throws. Like, that's normal for him. It's the fact that when you are understanding that this was a terrible game and there are no excuses that you can make for Taylor Heineke himself, that's when you need to understand that these type of performances were always waiting in the wings against the teams that he's already played. Taylor Heineke has played like this all four games to that point. Well, 5 games. He's played like that all 5 games. But he's had really good instances in which He was on hot streaks. He played. He connected with his guys. He found his playmakers. He gave his playmakers chances. He continues to do that this week against the Saints. Like that's literally what he did. But at the same time, when you stare your guys down or when you sail passes, when you can't have the zip on the ball that you should in certain plays, especially when you're passing on the boundaries, and you're trying to get a ball quick to the out route, or you're trying to drill a ball over the middle to get there quicker than anybody else or any defender, any of the closest defenders, and you can't do it because of your arm strength, that is where issues lie. Not only did Heinicke struggle, Jaron, you mentioned it. You said Heinicke leaving points on the field isn't going to fly against Kansas City, no matter how well the defense is playing. That's a fact. To your point, he left a ton of plays on the field against the Saints, man. A defense who was already really good, and the fact that they strapped up in a ton of critical situations for that Saints team with their backs against the wall. Again, 5 red zone trips. Only 2 touchdowns came out of it. A lot of that had to do with Taylor Heinicke seeing the field. He could have played much better, man. He could have played much better. So, diving into Taylor Heinicke, like we've said, we talked about the next gen stats. We talked about, okay, I got that done. Excuses, man. People are making excuses for him. So, this is from a guy that I respect. You know, I have no issue with him personally. I don't know him like that. But Al Galdi. Al Galdi said, it's true that Taylor Heinicke had his worst game as a Washington football quarterback. He needs to be better, but also true. And he lists 4 things. Note that there was one statement about Heinicke's game. This was only an hour after the game ended. So he didn't even take time to really, sit here and and give proper due to what Heinicke just did on the field. But he said this is also true. The Saints defense is very good. Washington football's offense is ravaged by injury. Washington football's O-line had 4 killer penalties. Washington football's trash defense makes it so that Heinicke must be great every game. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you this question once more. In what way did Heinicke had to be in what way did he have to be great against the Saints? Washington could have easily been up 14-7, if not 14-0 against the Saints, had he connected and played well in the red zone. In what way did he have to be great? All he had to do was make throws. All he had to do was see the field well. All he had to do was protect the ball. So, that tweet that I just read was a crazy deflection, and it goes down the lane of excuse making for a quarterback who you already know the truth. Like you don't have to do that. Like my gripe is that where is it at? So I can go ahead and do this properly. Or maybe I deleted it. But here's my thing with the quarterback situation. If you're not going to do it for other quarterbacks, why are you doing it for Taylor Heinicke? If you're going to criticize every single opportunity, every single throw, every single play, every single decision that other Washington football quarterbacks have done in the past, why exactly are you going to try and find ways to excuse Taylor Heinicke? That is a dangerous path to go down. And it's something that needs to be avoided at all costs. You hold everybody to the same standard. You don't make those excuses, man, because people did that for Kirk. People did that shit for RG. People did that shit for Dwayne Haskins. People did it for Alex Smith, man. People did it for, what's that guy name? Oh Lord, I'm drawing a blank. It was some other guy. People liked Colt McCoy, but that wasn't the guy I was thinking of. And I'm not gonna let him drive I'm not gonna drive that right now. I'm gonna let it go. But if you're gonna do these things for quarterbacks like Taylor, bruh, that is just the lowest of low that you can do. So Another quote that got to me was the fact that somebody on Twitter, when I asked the question if Taylor Heineke should be benched for Fitzpatrick, if Fitzpatrick is healthy, here's what was said. Taylor made mistakes, but Turner's offense is so damn predictable, it's sickening. He treated the offense as if Terry has to be fed the ball every third down. He still doesn't use Antonio Gibson right at all. It forces Taylor Heineke into scenarios with extremely tight windows of an opportunity. Low success percentage. A guy from Twitter. Now, Jarian, I'm going to go ahead and read your comment. You mentioned if Taylor Heineke can't get them passes under control, I don't see why they don't give Allen a chance. Because you asked about will Fitz come back or will we see Allen before that? I don't see why they don't give Fitz Allen a chance. Excuse me. Taylor Heineke is often late, behind, and high on throws. So let me scroll down to the chat now that I got that one and read some comments before I get into my points. Cole mentioned he's the 38th ranked quarterback in Pro Football Focus quarterback grades, second in turnover worthy plays, overall grade of 55. Jarian mentioned that Heineke is the new Cousins for some of the media. I mean, shit, the fan base too. But yes, Cousins, some of the media. I think if a team invested time into him, he could be like the 16th best quarterback in the league, best case scenario. But it would take years. I wouldn't mind seeing Allen before Fitz come back. And then Cole mentioned it's not worth to invest in him, keep him around, but upgrade the position. The honest answer is you cannot correct his arm strength. You cannot correct those things. Like yes, he can run around, he can evade in the pocket, he can buy you some time, but you're not getting the arm strength. Like there's just certain throws he cannot make consistently. He can have those moments, but there are not those that he can make consistently. And truth be told, when you're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's gonna come back when he's healthy and ready. I think the issue, and I wanted to play this part, and I'm gonna show it. I mean, it's whatever. I was just thinking out loud with that part. So here's the issue that people are coming across with Taylor Heineke and quarterbacks in general when it comes to the fans and making excuses. This is a dangerous, slippery slope. And Bruce Nolan, when we interviewed Bruce Nolan heading into the Bills game, he covered this exact thing that people are going to be running into when you talk about people making excuses for players, their favorite players, and stuff like that. This is kind of what you run into from certain people. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and play it right now. So from a fan perspective, just understand that you are in the Bills community. From a fan's perspective, what was the temperature like on a quarterback like Josh Allen, especially his first couple years, and then that explosion the previous year, and now where we're here in 2021, it's only 2 games in, but statistically, and there has been some moments on film and in games too where he's kind of is looking like these aren't the same. This isn't the 2020 Josh Allen. What has been a fan base viewpoint over the years of Josh Allen, how they came around on him, or were they always in on Josh Allen when he got here?
There is a certain section of the fan base that was going to be in regardless. And there's always going to be that section of the fan base. You have that section of the fan base too. These are the people who are true believers. Every draft pick is the best idea in the history of mankind. Every free agent signing is the best idea in the history of mankind. These are people who don't actually have opinions before the decision is made. So before the draft, they have no opinions at all. And they keep that open so that whatever the team decides to do, they can come back and say it's going to be great without being intellectually dishonest. They just have no opinions whatsoever. And then whenever you have a contrary opinion, they sing things like, well, so you think you know more than the team? That's what those people say.
This is why there's always the coach and you're not.
Exactly. Oh, this is armchair quarterbacks. This is the reason why there's always going to be a subsection of fans in any fan base that are going to be all in regardless. But deep deep down in the recesses of their heart of hearts, where they don't want to talk about it, a lot of people in this fan base didn't want Josh Allen. They wanted Josh Rosen. They wanted Sam Darnold. They wanted Baker Mayfield. They didn't want Josh Allen. When they drafted him, they said, well, I guess he's our Josh now. And then there was a certain subsection that said that the year the Bills went 10-6 and went to the playoffs in 2019, that was good enough from Josh Allen. Even though he was bottom third in the league in a lot of major metrics, and the team was winning in much more so due to their defense than due to Josh Allen, they said, he's the guy. I'm convinced he's the guy. Because the last time they saw the playoffs was with Tyrod Taylor, who they thought was not the guy. And then the last time before that was 17 years prior. So they said, oh my gosh, a hand-picked quarterback from this regime who made the playoffs. Let's go. I'm in. So then there was a second wave. The first wave was always on board. The second wave was, we made the playoffs with Josh Allen. The third wave was 2020. Was, okay, he's playing at an elite level. This is the 13-3 MVP votes, arguably top 3 quarterback in the league sort of play in 2020. Now, all the people who were a little bit gun shy about giving him $258 million guaranteed, they're starting to feel a little weird now, 2 games in. They're starting to feel ghosts of Carson Wentz start to come around and grab them around the neck while they're sleeping. But for the other people, they're like, listen, man, it's 2 games, right? Josh Allen had 2 games that were equivalently less desirable last year. He ended up having an MVP level season. People have bad games. It's a sample size issue. So for a lot of fans, where you're at now depends on when you came on board.
That is an elite response. So go ahead back. There we go. That was Bruce Nolan, and he went a little bit further than that. But I think the key things to take away from situations like that, especially when it comes to players, when it comes to coordinators, when it comes to things like that, people will continue to find excuses for the people that they love, the people that they have turned into like being fanboys of, fanatics of. They'll continue to find those excuses. They'll continue to find reasons. Everything else except for the player themselves. They do not want to acknowledge that somebody just is not playing well because they are afraid to face the truth that something may be off. Bruce Nolan broke it down as best as he could in a great way. But I want people to understand that is the situation that you're in with Taylor Heineke. Ask yourself the tough questions. If you thought that he was a guy who can be sustainable, you're starting to see the flaws, and you got to understand that it may be time to accept that he is at best a QB2. He's not gonna. He has too many flaws from a professional standpoint. It's not his fault. It's just who he is. But he's not going to be able to take that next step and be that quarterback one, top 16, top of the guy. Like, that's not going to be him. So to close out on some things, because I have been talking for a little minute, man. I'm rapping. Yeah, it was some gems, Cole. It was some gems. I really like Bruce Nolan, man. He held shit down for sure. Rivera said there's going to be no change in the scheme. He said that stuff makes no sense to him right now, because if you look back, it's probably the first time where he can say it was just a matter of 4 or 5 plays on both sides of the ball. Technically he's right, but contextually speaking, the defense gave up 6 or 7 plays of 20 yards or more against the Saints. That's just one instance, but think about the last drive that I just broke down to you all. What was it? 8 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes, touchdown, 1 third down face on that drive for the Saints. Context matters, man. It's all about how the team played in certain moments. So Ron Rivera is being defensive in this moment, but understand if you're going to narrow it down to 4 or 5 plays, that is extremely naive from a head coach's position. He said some more stuff, man. I think to shorten down the time, we're going to answer this question, Jarian, about the role of a head coach when a particular unit is struggling. Ron Rivera was asked that question, and he gave this response. Well, you guys really want to go there, don't you? The truth of the matter, guys, is I oversee it. I look at it. I talk to the coaches. I talk to the players. We talk about what we're doing. We go through all that. Whether you're doing well or not doing well, it's just a matter of getting involved when certain things have to happen in the appropriate moment. When I feel that it needs to be done, I'll do it. That's simple, okay? We're trying to build and create. And if you're constantly mixing and changing and moving and doing things, you never really find out. If we had done anything drastically crazy last year, we did it after I felt that it was a time to do it. And that's what we're going to do here. I don't see any issues the way you guys do, okay? I have the opportunity to watch the tape, to break down the tape, to look at what we're doing and looking at how we're doing it, okay? And as we go through these things, we're trying to make sure that we're doing things the right way. If we're not, we're trying to correct them. I'm working to correct them. All right, the tough part is you only have 53 guys and you try to use them. All right. Okay, so clearly he's frustrated in his response. He's frustrated with the media and people asking that question. But the bottom line is he didn't give a response. You had 5 games of film, which is a large enough sample size. What is 5? I'm not the best. I'm not the best math wizard, so I'm gonna do this live on stream and just show my flaws, right? 5 divided by 17. 29% of your games have been played already, Ron Rivera. 29% of your games have been played already, and you're trying to convince us that you don't have enough out there to really understand or really to commit to any changes or mixes or anything like that. That's 29% of your games, bro. That's enough time, enough evidence to see where you can tweak things, where you can be better at, and that kind of move forward. You should know your team, especially this late into the season or this far into the season. I'm not gonna say late. You had the off season with them. You had training camp. You had preseason. You had the first month. You know what needs to change. So you need to get that shit together. I'm not gonna go too far. He said much more. I just quit on the quote. I quit on the quote, but clearly he wasn't trying to give anything to anyone. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up with some comments from the chat. Cole, Jarian, these, where are we at? Thoughts on quarterback next season, Willis or Ritter. Hey, first off, I'm all about the guy from Ole Miss. That's my guy. Willis or Ritter, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really looking into that, man, but the guy from Ole Miss, he does it all with his arm. That's the type of quarterback you need. Wins or losses in college, when it comes to Ole Miss, it doesn't matter. You need somebody who knows how to throw the football, who can make every throw. That man threw a 60-yard pass in the air on Saturday. 60 yards in the air for a touchdown, bruh. Like, you don't get no better than that from a quarterback, especially when in college. You don't see that shit that often. 60 yards in the air. Incredible. So let me finish this up with Cole too. Ron acts like a guy that knows his job is 100% safe, 110% safe. Basics. Jarian mentioned that his response was terrible. Stubborn loyalty. Naive response says it all. It's not just us, but it's some of the defensive players can see it. Almost a third of the season and he doesn't see it. Yeah, man. That's where we're at. So while we still have a couple people here, I just want to mention, because this is the wrap up. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, we will have a live film breakdown. Mark Bullock, formerly of The Athletic, Hogs Haven, Washington Post, all that good stuff. We're going to be breaking film down live of Taylor Heineke's game on stream. There will be no 7 p.m. stream. We will have our Tuesday stream at 10 a.m. We will break down Taylor Heineke's film, go through everything there. We will show a rerun of it at 7 p.m. So that's that. Secondly, there will be a giveaway for those who missed it earlier. We will have a giveaway, man. I truly appreciate everybody who rocks with me, man, because y'all don't have to listen to me. Y'all don't have to sit here and spend that hour with the Trap or Dive podcast, and some of y'all do it. And I don't take that shit for granted, man. I'm not no dude with an ego. Just a dude like to talk, bruh, and feel like I got some valuable things to say. So I appreciate that. We will be having another giveaway. I want to give back to some of the people who've been rocking with me. So I'm still trying to decide if we're doing Amazon or if we're doing like actual team merchandise. Because I know the team right now is not really appealing or attractive to anybody. It's just not there. So I'm gonna try and use the next week and some change to kind of gauge the interest, and then we'll figure out from there if we want to do Amazon or if we want to do team merchandise. So that's that. Before we get up out of here, always subscribe, like, share, retweet, all these things, man, to help us out. If you like the things that we got going on, it's truly appreciated, man. It takes seconds to do. We gotta help try and get our name out there. So I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and if y'all support us, you know, you like what we got going on, all that good stuff, you can do the same. So with that being said, back tomorrow, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. back tomorrow. And then Wednesday and Thursday as well, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're out of here. Y'all be safe. Enjoy the game. Drink, whatever, eat, whatever, all that good stuff. Y'all be safe. We up out of here. Peace.
Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga. Don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the